So if you remember what we saw yesterday, we had an overview of how the forms work, and then we discussed that for this first release, we will be using a position form 01, summary 09, and summary 03. We went to position 01, and we saw that in the form, once we enter the coding block, the system will retrieve the current position list, okay, and then we are acting on the duty station, grade, position, and different fields. And if you remember, the system was automatically deriving the position action. It could be an establishment, abolishment, redeployment, reclassification. Also, we discussed about the different type of abolishment. If you do it in a particular position ID, or if you do it in a generic position. So we also went through the system, and we did a demo, and then I'll send you the credentials. So coming back to the agenda that we're going to see today, remember that, as I said the first day, we have position form that is sending data. Okay, the travel, material service, and MPU forms are not relevant for us right now. And then what we were mentioning is that the position form is sending its data to summary 03 and to summary 09. Okay. Daniel. Yeah, there is some feedback. So, okay, we are going to mute all your microphones, but please be aware in case your microphone is open. So today we are going to see summary 09, and now in the morning, and then we will do some demonstration and then exercises. Some exercises, and then we'll go to summary 03. So one thing that is very important for the 1 second, I'm going to mute all of you. Mute all. Okay. So one thing that is very important for you to be aware is the structure of the entities. That is something that we saw yesterday as well. But the main concept that you need to make sure it's clear in your mind when you're working with the form is the hierarchy of commitment items. And this is essential for this form. And once we go to the form, we're going to see it again. But you have always to be aware at what level you are working in the form. So in the summary form, we are going to enter operational budget plan for operational expenditures, right? So whatever is not position related will be entered here. Now in the form, we are going to see lines that are a breakdown by commitment item where we want to enter the amounts, and then these commitment items will be grouped in the budget subclasses and budget classes. Okay, so I think if you are involved in the budget process, you already know what is a budget class. That, let's say, that identifies a group of commitment items and budget subclasses, and then once we go to the system, we're going to see specific examples. But a typical budget class will be, for example, official travel. And then we will have a breakdown of budget subclasses related to maybe to the type of travel, and then eventually we'll have commitment items. But it's important that once you are in the form, before you start entering values, you double check if in the form you are at commitment item level. You have to be careful in the form to see if you are in the commitment item level or if you are at subclass level. Okay, and then you will see the consolidated information at the class level. And then as well, if you see there is this IMP classing, this is the direct input for the class, and we are not going to use it, but it's there, so you have to be careful when you see it, that is started with IMP. So what about form 09? So the form 09 has 4 tabs. The first tab is to enter the coding block. This is something that you know, and also we saw yesterday. So in the first tab, we will only select the coding block. Then we have a second tab that is called resource plan. Then we will see there is where we're going to enter. We will enter our budget plan and the amounts for every particular commitment item. And then we have resource changes, which is a tab that will be used to explain the changes from the starting position, no, from the last approved budget to this one that we are proposing. What is the reason for the change? And then we have another tab that is basically like a feature to facilitate the preparation of the budget. Okay, so the last one is only a tool. The main tab where you're going to enter the information is the resource plan tab. Okay, it's the second tab. Okay, I know that is a very short introduction, but is it clear for everybody? Do you know? And I'm going to ask you questions, so please, you will have to use the green check or the red cross. Do you know what is a commitment item? Are you familiar with this term? What is the commitment item? What is for? What does this identify? Please reply clicking on the green check or the red cross if you don't know it. Okay, don't worry, because when you answer, I don't see directly your names, so it's only statistics for me. So don't hesitate if you are not sure. Nobody will blame you for not knowing what's a commitment item. Okay, so let me explain it briefly. So once we are planning for the budget, right, we have to. Okay, so it's so and so. But it's good that I asked that, because I was assuming that this was known. So the commitment item is basically a code or a number that identifies the nature of an expenditure, which let's say in basic or in normal terminology, it means it tries to define where are you going to spend the money. So if you're asking, or if you are planning the budget and you want to plan the budget for travel, it's not the same as if you are budgeting to acquire shares, right? So different type of services or products are identified by a different commitment item. For example, when we go, and if I go to the system, I think I'm going to explain it better. So give me 1 second, because sometimes we try to explain things in an abstract way, and it's much better, much easier to do it. Giving particular or concrete examples. So I'm going to the system now, and I'm going to try to clarify this concept. So I go to login Brint because it's the training environment.
While you are while you are logging in, I just put in the chat the job aid related to the funds management overview, where you will see which is the description of each of the master data elements related to funds management, in case that you're not familiar with commitment item and some other concepts. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. Thank you. That's very good, actually very useful. If you are new to the budget hierarchy or the commitment item hierarchy. Anyway, now I'm logging in, so the system is starting, and we are going to open the summary form 09. So we will try to explain these concepts that you have to be familiar with. Remember, budget class, budget subclass, and commitment item. Okay, so let's see if the Excel started already. Okay, that's fine. So now I'm going to open the form. And as I said before, it's very important that you go to T5W. Okay, T5W, summary and plan. Okay, you see that I'm highlighting it. So, and then I go with the user that I also sent a list of users yesterday. The password is very simple, it's umoja123. And then now I'm going to open the summary form. Okay, so open server input from folder, and I'm going to open summary 09, which I think is this one. Okay. Okay, so the concept of the commitment item and the rest of the hierarchy elements, it's important for the second tab. So let me enter first the coding block. This is nothing new. This is what we did yesterday. So I'm going to select the right fund. So, okay, the system brings a pop-up window, and I select 10 UNA.
Just a reminder, guys, please do check your chat, because I'm putting some concepts related to the commitment items and the main features, in case that as the system it's opening up, you can just go to the site and check and read a bit of the concepts on commitment items and funds management, as well as the job aid. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Then I selected the fund. Now I'm selecting the budget period. This is something we did yesterday. I'm very happy to see that we have 105 people connected, because yesterday we had 106. So almost everybody who joined yesterday, except one, that probably is stuck in traffic or something. Okay, so I'm going to select the budget period, which is 2020. And then you have to select the cost object. Still, this summary form is done as can be done as sub-entity level. So in the future, you will enter the plan in the material and service form and all the travel model. But right now, we are going for the summary one. So in my case, the cost center I was planning for is this one. And the version, what version? What do I have to select here in the version? Just to double check if you paid attention yesterday. So can you write in the chat what if I have to do something with the version? Okay, I see it. Okay, very quickly. All right, yes. So I'm going to select the version that you're saying. So, but I don't find L1, right? So what version do I select? Everybody's saying L1, L1, L1. Okay. So, but I don't see it. How do I select it? What version I select if I don't see L1? Do you see anything on my screen? Internal proposal as well. Okay. If you don't see it, you want to make sure you go to display, ID description. Okay. Very good. So I select it, and now important. And this is something that also Abdul was asking in one of the last VTCs. The variant that we are going to select is very important now. It's defaulted to U10, which is fine because I think you all work with 10 UNA. But when we will do this for PK, we have to select a different variant. So we do it with U10. And now, this is a difference compared to the position form, because we don't have any button on the spreadsheet to refresh or to save. Do you remember that yesterday we had a button to refresh and a button to save? Okay, so in this case, when you don't have, if you see any button, you will use it. If you don't have it, then we are going to use buttons from the top bar. Okay, this is something that you need to be aware. So if I go to resource plan, I see that the coding block that I've selected is here, and I would like to refresh so I get data from the server. You remember that I said yesterday, before anything, you click on refresh, so we bring any current picture from the database, from the server. So there is no refresh button. So where do we go? You see on the top bar, there is a refresh button, and we can say refresh worksheet. So we will have data pull from the server. So I click on the refresh worksheet, and then hopefully we will get like the previous or the approved budget. So it's pulling data from the previous budget. And then also we will see information that has been brought from the position form. Okay, so this is the data. Okay, Dan, you want to add something?
Yeah, and two things. Please send your comments to all panelists, so it's not only David but myself following up on your questions. And secondly, this is basically what we did yesterday with the positions. Once you click on refresh, instead of the expenditures by classes, yesterday, if you guys remember, we did see the previous staffing table from previous years. So in a nutshell, basically the rationale is the same thing. Once you refresh, you fetch data from previous budget periods, and then you modify accordingly. Over to you.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. So basically, this is the point I wanted to discuss. I wanted to get to in order to explain the behavior of the commitment item in hierarchy. So let me zoom in a bit. Okay, there we have some figures that we will discuss later, and then we will play with the form. But on the left side, you have, oh, it's not showing it, right? Oh, okay, we have the class here and the cost object. Okay, so you see the commitment item column, it has a list, right? The first thing identifies the variant, that is U10 because you are SPMs. And then what you see here is, oh, sorry, the form changed again. Okay, what you see here is the budget classes. So we have class 10, which is a group that contains all the post, let's say, expenditure, okay, or expenditures that are related to the post. We have other staff costs. We have compensation non-staff. We have class 30, which is hospitality and related costs. We have class 105, important, very important for you because I'm sure that we want to budget for this. Consultants and experts, budget class 105. Budget class 110 is travel representative, travel and official business, contractual services, etc. So this is what is the budget class. So if we are going to budget for travel on official business, we will enter it in class 115. While if we are budgeting for contractual services, we will enter it in 120. So this budget class represent like the type of expenditure, basically. But we are not only making this difference. So this is hierarchy, this is the budget class. But for example, for travel on official, or for example, in this class, class 05, consultants and experts, there is a breakdown. So we can see the breakdown if we double click on the class. So I'm going to double click on this item. The system takes a bit of time to refresh it. Okay, so the system is refreshing data, and then we will see. Okay, very good. Now, please pay attention. This is very important. If it's new for you, if you don't get it now, you will get lost. And then if I don't explain it well myself, please let me know, and I will repeat it in a different way, or I will ask Daniel to say with his own words. The budget class consultants and experts have two subclasses. One is 105.1. It's ad hoc expert groups, and the other one is 105_2, which is consultants. Meaning that when we are budgeting, of course, it's not the same if we budget for consultants and experts or if we are budgeting for travel. It has to go to a different budget class. But within the class, it's not the same if we are budgeting for consultants or what we are budgeting for is ad hoc expert groups. So there are two classes. And please, very important, you see this other line here that says IMP FT10 class 105. This is not part of the breakdown. This is only an entry that allows to enter directly on the class, but we are not going to use it. Okay, very important. You do not enter, okay, in principle, unless there is a reason and then you have justification for that. We are not going to enter at the IMP level. In general, the guidance and instructions is that we will enter a commitment item, or if it's needed, maybe a subclass, but in principle, it's always at commitment item level. But we are not entering in the lines that start with IMP. And this is confusing because when you see it, you see that it seems in the chart that is part of the breakdown. But you have to pay attention. If it starts with underscore IMP, we are not using it. So I'm talking about, this is the hierarchy. This is the budget class and this is the budget subclass. But I said at the beginning of the session something about commitment item. Okay, so every one of these subclasses is broken down also in commitment items that are related to the nature of this expenditure. So if I double click on the subclass now, I will also get a breakdown. And then be careful if you have to drill down, because every time you drill down, the system is refreshing the spreadsheet. So normally when we are going to use this form, we will first drill down, then we will enter data. And if we want to drill down in another section, we will have to save before continuing drilling down. Now, pay attention to this, please. It's very important. The class is 105. I double click and I got the subclasses. And then I have double clicked on consultants and I get a breakdown of commitment items. So you see, for example, we have OE consultant service individual fee, which is operational expenditure consulting service individual fee. Consultant service training, consultant service individual, whatever. So all these commitment items are defining the, let's say, the nature of this expenditure. So when you're going to be budgeting, you have to pay attention and see the yellow fields are fields where you can actually enter an amount. So you can prepare the budget at this level. If it's white, you cannot do it. So the system is forcing you to enter it at commitment item level. Or you could do it in the system in IMP, but as I told you, this is not recommended, and the practice that we are asking you to follow is to enter at commitment item level. So you enter at the commitment item level, and then this will be summarized in the budget subclass, and this will be all summarized on the budget class. Okay? Now, is it clear now what is the hierarchy of the commitment item? It's all about the nature of the expenditure. Okay? And then you see a breakdown of budget subclasses, and eventually you have this commitment item. Every commitment item identifies the one nature of expenditure. For example, if we go to other one like furniture and equipment, you will also see it immediately. You will see that under class 135, where we are going to budget for furniture and equipment, we will have a breakdown by subclasses. And it all helps you to understand, to explain basically to member states and eventually to fifth committee and ACABQ, the money that the budget that we're planning for is going to be used in this or this way. And then of course, when we get the appropriation from the member states, the system will have budget controls based on that. So you see, the budget class furniture and equipment has a breakdown of communication equipment, office automation equipment, office furniture equipment. It's not the same if we are budgeting for communication as if we are budgeting for furniture. Okay, and then if I drill down again, I will get to a list of commitment items. Now, please, can you please click on the green check if it's more clear now, or in the red cross if still is not properly explained or you didn't get it? It's just what I'm asking you is to confirm if you understand what is the commitment item and the relation, all right? The hierarchy from the budget class to the budget subclass and to the commitment item that identifies the nature of the expenditure. Wow, it's much better now. Thank you so much. Thank you for the feedback. Okay, we still have some people that don't see it clearly yet, but maybe it is better to go ahead, okay, and see it during the practice. Okay, Daniel, any question, any comment?
Yeah. Yes, I just saw a pop-up, but I didn't see in my chat. Please do send your comments and questions to all panelists. But I just saw a pop-up in the window there. I think Sunil was asking whether we can add new commitment items to this form.
No, we cannot, because the commitment item hierarchy is defined and is a standard, right? So this is pulled from the SAP system. Remember that these forms, even though they look as Excel, they are integrated with the SAP system. So what we are seeing, even the figures, they are coming from the SAP. Yeah, and duplicating commitment items, not really, and I don't see what would be the reason. Maybe the point of the question is because you may be budgeting for the same commitment item for two different reasons, and then it's probably something that once we go to the resource changes, is going to make sense, and you will see that you may not need multiple commitment items, okay? Because then there is a breakdown later. Okay, now let me explain to you how the form works, basically, and then we will see. And please, if it was not still clear the commitment item part, we will see now in a better way. So what I did in this form was to enter the coding block. Then I went to resource plan, and then let's say that we are budgeting, and that after our analysis of our costing sheets, we realized that we have to add $10,000 or $20,000 for consultants, okay? And this will go to the commitment item that is called, we had a good one, right? That was like individual fee, for example, consulting service individual fee. Let's say that we have to budget for $20,000 for this one, and then it can be recurrent or non-recurrent. Remember the difference between recurrent and non-recurrent. Recurrent means that if we enter it here, next year it will be as a recurrent, it will be part of the proposal initially. If it's not recurrent, it's considered to be only for 1 year. So let's say that we have to budget $20,000 for consultants, and then it's under the commitment item OE consulting service individual fee, and it's going to be, okay, let's say this one is non-recurrent, for example. Okay, so we enter here $20,000. Okay, and this is the internal proposal for continuing scope. Okay, if it's for the new mandate, then we will enter it here. Okay, so we are assuming that this is a continuing the same mission. Okay, so we enter it here, and that's it, right? This will then roll up to the class, and then we're going to take a second example. For example, what is typical for you is travel, right? So what do I do if I want to add $100,000 to the travel budget? So what we will do also as well is to check how much is budgeted for travel. Right now, it appears in the system there is, for official travel and official business, there is 73,000 as, okay, coming from 2018 there was 134,000. Okay, so and then there is a proposal already in the system, probably because this is training environment, of 50,000. We want to enter something on the travel side. What do I do? What would you do? Do I double click already here to get the breakdown by commitment item? Yes or no? Shall I double click here to see the breakdown of commitment items so I can enter data? Yes or no? Please click on the green check or on the red cross. Okay. Everybody's saying yes, and the right answer is no. So why? Because as I told you, every time we double click on these lines, the system is refreshing. So I need first to save the amount, okay? I either save the amount every time I enter it and then I'm going to a different commitment item, or I display all the hierarchy at the beginning and then I go one by one. So to save the data, again, there is no save button on top, right? So we have to use the buttons from the system. So in this case, we have a save data button here, and we have to select save and refresh worksheet data. Okay, some people say no. Okay, yes, don't get frustrated. Huh? It was just the first 25 people said yes. So now I'm clicking on save, and look what the system is saying. It's telling me one data record will be sent. Do you want to continue? Yes, this is the 20,000 that I saved. So it's up to you. I think maybe it's better for you to display all the hierarchy where you're going to act, and then you save only one time. Or if you want to go step by step, you go and you address. Probably when you are working in the summary, maybe you are not going to be touching. But yes, no, you go for your coding block and then you add all the expenditure. So maybe it's better if you identify first what commitment items or budget classes are going to be budgeting for. You expand them all, and then you enter data, so you save only at the end. Yeah, that could be a good practice. But you see, after I click on save, again, it's let's say collapsed. So I go now to travel. Daniel?
Yeah, maybe it's would be interesting to, once you go to the upper menu and save data, the difference between the options you have, because when you click on save data, you have there basically two options, which is save worksheet data or save and refresh. The difference between the two basically is if you click on save worksheet data, the first one, save will keep the view intact after saving the data, but it will not change the row total. Yeah. Whereas if you do click on the save and refresh worksheet, then all the totals and subtotals will be saved, and then you can move on.
Okay, thank you. That's a good comment. So if you want to basically, yeah, if you want to basically go to the next commitment item, maybe it's even good to save worksheet data, because once you double click on the hierarchy, it's going to be refreshed anyway. So that's a very good comment. So remember, just I don't want you to lose this point, because it's very important. On position form, you have save and refresh buttons on the spreadsheet. On summary forms, you have to go to EPM and find them. Here is the refresh, and here there is the save button, as Danny was saying, or save and refresh, which is a combination. You save first and then it refreshes automatically. Now I said I want to enter data on the travel side. So I double click on the travel and official business, and the system will expand the travel commitment item, or the travel budget class, and we will see first the subclasses. And then look again to the color of the cells. When it's yellow, I can input data. If it's white, I cannot. Right? So, for example, here under this, because this budget class has only one subclass. Okay, it is telling me official travel of staff. How do I enter here the amount? I cannot. Right? So I have to drill down all the way to the commitment item. So I double click again. Daniel, please say what.
Yes, just you see the class 115. What David just clicked is the subclass, but not the IMP class, right?
Yeah, that is very important, that you are not expanding. When you see IMP, it's a direct input, and this is something that we are not going to use, right? You have to do it at commitment item level. Your microphone is okay. So right. So now we see commitment items. I know I'm going very slowly. Sorry for that. It's because half of you are new to the tool. and it's also because it is also better for my voice. So the commitment item are here, and now in our example, let's say that we want to increase, and we want to increase the amount of I don't know, training DSA, right? For example, I'm just building a scenario, or in mission or country DSA training or whatever. You have to specify it here. So let me put in OT staff, official travel staff for training DSA. So let me put a big amount here, so you all come to Valencia to receive training. So let me put whatever, I don't know, 500,000. Okay, and this is the way we are going to be entering our budget proposal. So no matter if you analyze your costing sheets and you analyze the costing sheets for both travel and consultant expenditures, you will get the totals and you will enter them here. Okay, now once, let's say that we have finished, and then we are going to save. We'll go again to save data. Okay, I'm going to click on save and refresh because I like to do it in this way. And now we will go to the next tab. Now the system again is asking if we want to save. I say yes, and then question: is this tab clear? You see, it's not rocket science. You just go. If you understand that there is a commitment item hierarchy, you have to drill down until the moment you get the yellow cells, and then you enter the amount at the commitment item level for the expenditure that you are budgeting for. So does this make sense? Is it clear? Is there any question? Please click on the green check if it's clear. If you are used to work with budget, it's straightforward. Huh? The complexity is basically finding the commitment item and then getting the logic of the form. Do I refresh? Do I save? What do I do? This is the only complex part. So please click on the green check if it's clear, or if it's not clear and you click on the red cross and you say no, please write a question. So we try to see what is the problem. I see only 17 people replying. There is 100 people are not replying to the question. So please go to the participants panel and click on the green check if it's clear. I know this is straightforward for some of you, and then if it's like that, then I can go to the next tab. Very good, thank you. So I can move to the next tab, and this one is a very complex. The resource plan one is important and it's very straightforward. Now the second tab that is called resource changes, it is not straightforward. It's a bit cumbersome, so please make sure you pay attention because you may face challenges when you're practicing if you don't get this one. So the purpose of this tab is to provide a breakdown of the expenditure that we entered in the resource plan, and basically a breakdown of the changes. So I'm going to first, if I don't see anything on the tab, what do? I go and refresh, and I will refresh worksheet. Remember when you click on refresh to refresh worksheet, because if you refresh the whole workbook, it will take a lot of time because it will refresh all the tabs. Now the system brought some information. Now please pay attention. This is very important. Huh? If you are, I know some of you connect to the WebEx and you are only listening and looking somewhere else, but you don't want to miss this part. Okay, so especially local process experts that are familiar with the process, this is a bit tricky. Once you open this, you will see some of the cells that are highlighted, right, Daniel? You see there is these lines and dots.
Yeah, they are dashed on the other side.
Exactly. So the borders of the cells have some highlighting, right? This means that this amount is a change compared to the previous budget, and we have to justify or give a reason for the change. So where do we need to act on these lines, for example? Under the class consultants and experts, the system is telling me that there has been a decrease of 47,000. I mean, at least that there is a change on the recurrent side and a change on the non-recurrent side. Do you recognize this 20,000? Do you recognize this 20,000 for consultants and experts? This is the amount I entered manually in the previous tab. So I went to the previous tab and I said there are $20,000 that we're going to increase for consultants and expert budget class. So now the system is telling us, all right, this 20,000 that you enter, you are not specifying any reason. In position form, it was easier because in position form, when we were entering the change, remember yesterday there was a column that was telling you new mandate or reform or something. Now we are in summary form and inputting data directly. So that's why we need to justify. How do I justify? It's a bit weird because we have a number of columns here that we have to expand. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yes? Okay. So I'm going to justify now this 20,000 that I entered before. And again, I have to do it at commitment item level. So I'm going to drill down. I'm going to drill down. How do I drill down? Double clicking on the class, I will get the budget subclass. So once I get to the commitment item level, I will be able to justify. So first you refresh in this tab, then you see the system is telling me, okay, the amount that you enter is not in ad hoc expert groups. You have something to justify at the consultant subclass, but still the inputs are white, right? I have to go to commitment item level. So for every change, you will have to do this using this tab. Now I'm trying to expand the hierarchy and get to the commitment item. Okay. So now that I get to the commitment item, I see here that the $20,000 that were added as consulting service individual fee. So now the system is telling you, you have to justify this increase of 20,000. How do you do it? And for that, you have a number of columns here, and it's telling you those are, they say, the reasons for the changes. Can be downsizing, a strategic review, civilian staff review, transition to other entities, cooperation, initiatives. Okay. And even as, okay, so any change has to be justified by addressing one of these causes. Even the ones for, if you have changes here at the post, you have to do it as well, even if in the position for you enter something. So if, for example, we say these 20,000 that we enter are due to what? Are due to, Daniel, okay, it was an increase, no? So let's say this a strategic review or a strategic review is restructuring. It's number 2. So we want to say we increased $20,000 because of a strategic review. So we go now to the right, we find number 2, strategic review. We click on the plus, and we have a new column. We have a new column for a strategic review. So we are saying the 20,000 that we increased are due to a strategic review. Are they non-recurrent? Yes, non-recurrent. So I enter as non-recurrent 20,000 here, and you see the highlighting disappeared. So we have justified that the increase of $20,000 under the commitment item consultant service individual fee is due to a strategic review restructuring. Is this clear? I know it's a bit cumbersome, but I will repeat it as many times as you need. Can you please click on the green check if it's clear, or in the red check if you want me to repeat with another example? Please click on the green check or in the red one, and then feel free to ask questions to help me explain it in a different way if it's difficult.
If I may chip in a couple of things. We are receiving several comments and questions, even concerns about, how unfriendly the form is. We understand that. That's why we are here. We're going very slow, explaining how the form works. And if it is let's mute all.
Okay, sorry for there was a noise problem. I'm muting everybody again. Okay.
Okay.
Can you go ahead?
Yes. Because the guys who are really concerned about how complex all these process it's becoming, because it's the first time they are seeing the form and even being exposed to the budget process. So that's why first we have this WebEx, and we are recording the WebEx, and we're going to give to you examples and documentation. That's first of all. Second of all, we may want to put you in contact with your local LPE as well, in case that you want to have, I don't know, like a sit down or one-to-one let's say session with them, so you will not be lost in all this process. Okay, so we just want to relax you in case that because I saw a couple of comments, people are kind of like stressed about this. So stress out. We do have resources in place to support you through the process. First, through this WebEx. Second, through the exercise and documentation, and thirdly, with your local process experts in the missions as well. And well, that's first. If you have any comment, David, on that.
Yeah. Thank you, Daniel. But yeah. So thank you so much for the points. And then people, you don't feel that you are alone on this. Okay, we all have to learn how to use this tool. And then also, if there are proposals for improvement, we can also address them to New York. Now, from this form, the complexity, as you realize, is not in the resource plan tab, right? So this was clear. Now we were entering the amounts that we wanted to budget for, and this is very straightforward. The purpose of this tab, again, is only to justify or to align the changes with some of these reasons. So if you have entered something, if you have increased the budget at a certain commitment item level, it will be in your mind, right? It's not that you find the form full of numbers that you have not acted, right? This is in the training environment because sometimes the form are being used by different people. But look at it. Look at this. I added $20,000 on the consultants. This is what I added. Did I say why there is an increase of 20,000? No. What do I say it here? I go to resource changes. I go to the same line, exactly to the same line, and then I have to open the column that corresponds to the reason to enter the same amount. So if the changes happen because of downsizing, down, whatever, you will expand downsizing, and you will enter the amount here. Okay, so maybe it's better or it's easier if I expand all the columns so you see how this works. This is basically columns that are hidden because you are not going to use them all, but maybe for you to have an understanding, it helps. So you see, the first area is the amount and the changes that you entered, 20,000. And then the only thing that the system is telling you, please, if this is a change. So tell me if it's a change because civilian staff in review and structure transition, right? Put the amount that belongs to every reason. And then this is something related to a question that we got from someone. Imagine that, sorry, imagine that these 20,000 are not only for one reason. Imagine that these 20,000 that you have increased, 10,000 are due to strategy review, and 10,000 are because of, sorry, and 10,000 are because of civilian staffing review. Sorry. Yeah, it's recurrent, sorry. So you may have that for a different reason. So what you're doing here is taking the lines that you have entered and giving a breakdown on the particular reason. until you justify, say, the whole change. Okay. Anyway, if it's not clear yet, you remember that you're going to have an exercise as well. Daniel, you want to say something?
Yeah, we have questions on, well, Suda is asking whether we can show details on any other changes. Well, as you can see, Suda, there is no like change between the different columns. It's just a reason to justify the modification, as David was saying. But if you go to the last column, any other changes, you see that actually you are going to act on the different commitment items, nothing different from the other ones. And the reason behind having any other changes, the business reason, is that it's not applicable to the other 8, I guess.
Exactly. So this is more pure business, right? So I think you have these categories to justify the type of changes. Okay.
Okay, another question is like, what happens if we have a slightly increase of 50 euros due to change or for exchange rates? Should we even justify those things?
So okay, if you have a small difference, you will still have to. It will be highlighted here. So I mean, but that is purely a business question, right? If it's maybe there is a level of tolerance, I don't know, but the system will highlight the difference, and then you can do it. I guess if there is a difference of $5, probably is because there is something related to the salary that has changed, right? I don't think you are increasing the budget for $5 without anything that is affecting like systematic changes. So okay, let me give another example so you see a different case before we. Okay, Daniel, is there any other question before I move to? I'm still going to remain in the same type, so I'm going to show another example. So just give me 1 second. Okay, so just for you to see it in a different way, where else did I enter a certain amount on this form? I entered also on the travel side, right? I entered something on the travel side, and there was already an amount on the travel side. So I have entered some changes. So I go now to the resource changes tab, and I'm going to save data so I don't lose it. Maybe I saved already, but yeah. So it's telling me there are 2 data records that will be saved. Okay, and now I want to go to the official travel, right? The official travel is highlighting that there are changes here. So I need to find the commitment items that contain the change. Sorry, I wanted to mute the microphone. So now I'm expanding the travel on official business class. Okay, official travel of staff. And then I'm going to expand. Please remember, do not use the IMP. It's just the system line. So I'm now expanding the subclass. So bear with me for 10 more seconds. Now the commitment items are there. 1 second, it's refreshing the. No, sorry. Maybe I clicked on the class instead of. Maybe I was collapsing instead of expanding. So I double click again. So the idea, what we are going to do now is to drill down up to the commitment item level until we get the yellow cells, right? Once we get the yellow cells, we will see where the amounts have been entered, and then we will justify them. So this is the subclass. I double click on it. So yes, remember that the yellow cells is what we are looking for at the commitment item level. And then remember that when you get to this tab, you are the ones that have entered the amounts in resource plans. So now in this exercise on the demo, you are missing some context. So you see here, we have under the commitment item 72111242 OT staff for training DSA, the system is telling us that there are 500,000, so $500,000 that was budgeted or that was planned or is entered in the proposal, but we have not justified why this increase. So where do we enter it? In what column do we enter this amount? What is the breakdown of this expenditure? So we can see what is the reason. Okay, it is, I don't know, let's say within and across section changes. I don't know if it makes much sense from the business point of view, but let's say that it has to go all to reason 7. So we take these 500, we go to column, the one that we selected is the 7, right? Within and across section changes. Okay. Then maybe I have to collapse some others because then we don't see, right? We don't see the commitment items on the left side. Let me just play around. I hope after this, I'm about to finish the demonstration, and then we'll give you time for you to play with the form, okay? Because you are getting tired as well, and it's a long demo. And then we'll see to the commitment item, okay? So we are on travel. We said 500. Where is the line? This is the line, okay? And this is the column, right? Within and across section changes. So is this a recurrent or a non-recurrent? This one we said it was recurrent, I think. So we enter here the amount. Why? Because we are saying the 500,000 increase is due to this reason. We enter it here, and you see automatically the cell is not highlighted anymore, so the system understands that we justified. That's it. Now, this is how the resource changes tab works. Remember, in resource plan, you enter the amounts. In resource changing, you make a breakdown of the, let's say, justification. Any question about this tab, Daniel? While I'm saving, I'm moving to the next one.
Yes, Astrid just asked whether there is some supporting documents in order to elaborate more on the reasons, because some are clear for the students, but some other aren't. So they were wondering whether they have, or we can provide them with supporting documentation on this regard.
Okay, that is a good point. There is a job aid that I'm going to share with you. But to be honest, it doesn't say much about it, but I think in the controller's instructions that I'm going to attach as well to the email this afternoon, we can see more of that. I'm trying to open it right now, but yeah, I will not have time to go through the document while I'm talking. So yeah, we will share the documentation that is available, and I expect this to be detailed on the instructions from the controller on the budget formulation, right? In any case, if we don't find anything, we can always write to New York, so they provide a cheat sheet or something. Daniel?
Yeah, a couple of them. First, from Sunil, he understands the form, but he was wondering whether, what's the difference between recurrent and non-recurrent? Because he's saying that the amount changes every year, so in a way, in his view, it should be recurrent.
Okay, so yeah, that's a very good question, and thank you. Let me track the slide that we saw yesterday. This is only a point for the system. So at this moment, I think we will see the value of this breakdown through the years. So basically the difference between recurrent and non-recurrent is that if you categorize it as recurrent, I expect it to continue in the future periods. So if, for example, we are budgeting for a we are budgeting for a consultant and it's very particularly linked to a project that we are doing this year, this will be typically non-recurrent. So the next year when we are preparing the budget, the system will prepare a proposal and will not consider the non-recurrent amounts as the start budget. While if you enter it as recurrent, right, typically recurrent costs are staff costs, right, staff costs. Or if you enter something for travel and you say, okay, the amount for travel is 100,000 recurrent, but this year particularly we have to receive a number of trainings on this new technology and we'll have an extra amount for travel that is non-recurrent. So this is basically the information. From the business point of view, you know it better. From the system point of view, it's because also you need the breakdown. I guess it's even going as part of the summary. Okay, so that's it, pretty much. So okay, any other question, Daniel?
Yes, thank you. It was a very good explanation, I think, for this one. And lastly, we have Anshu. She's a bit concerned about who is expected to fill in these forms, because budget and finance officers from individual sections are maybe the ones, but in case that they are not the person in charge of filling in this form is not a budget or finance officer, he's finding the form very cumbersome. So he's really wondering, who should really is expected to fill in the SAM 09 or 2.
Okay, that basically depends on how you have done the mapping exercise, right? So let me go back to the presentation. Okay, so the part of the roles. As we said at the beginning, you have these 3 roles. If you have BF09, you're going to be working on this form, basically, right, for your sub-entity. BF10 is sub-entity for position, so if you have the role of BF10, you will be working, based on the role assigned, you can be working on that. And then it depends on how the mission, and this is probably more a question for your deployment lead. What I can tell you is if you have BF10, most likely you're going to be involved with position form. If you have BF9, you may be involved in the summary 09. If you have BF11, then you are going to work more on the summary 03 for the approval. Okay. Now, if it's a question about particularly if you have the skills or the knowledge to perform this task, please liaise with the deployment lead in your mission. Okay, thank you. So still we have one more tab. This is the most important part of the form, the 2 tabs we already saw, resource plan and resource changes. Now we still have a tab called copy data to proposal, and the purpose of this tab is very simple. The idea of this tab is to bring data from previous year to the current proposal if there was no change. So let's say that in our original form, in our second tab resource plan, we have entered some changes on the travel side and some changes on the consultants. Okay. Now, if the rest all remains the same, instead of entering manually all of them, you can go to copy data to proposal. You click on refresh, so we see the starting position, so the last approved budget. And then the system is telling you, okay, you have changed something here, but some other lines you didn't enter anything. Okay, so if I zoom in so you can read, there is one question here. Would you like to copy the starting position to your version? In other words, for the lines, for the commitment items where you did not enter anything, is it because it remains the same? Yes, it remains the same. So if it remains the same, you double click on the answer. Instead of no, you say yes. You say yes. So you see the system is telling you that for the continuing scope under your proposal is going to be copied from the starting position. Do you want to continue? Yes. And then automatically it brought a starting position where you did not enter anything, is taking the values to the internal proposal. Okay? So it's taking lines from the starting position from previous year and is bringing it to your internal proposal. So the logical way, if I were you, to work with this form would be, we go to resource plan. I mean, you first have your costing sheets. You analyze your costing sheets. You see where you have the amounts. You go to the resource plan. You identify the lines where there have been an increase or a decrease. You enter them. You go to the third tab. You explain, I mean, you enter the breakdown. So the reason of the change. For the rest, you go to copy data to proposal, you say yes, and that's it. Okay? So this basically is bringing entries from the starting position to the internal proposal for the lines and commitment items where you did not act. Right? Look at this one. OT staff for training DSA. In this commitment item, there was nothing before, and we entered 500,000. Okay, so this one we are not touching it. Okay, so that's it. Okay, and yeah, that is more or less the view. Once we go to the system and we practice, and then again, once you see in the training environment, but also in production, you will go always. Once you save here, after doing this, if you save the data, okay, we'll have to save. We can go again to the resource plan and see the final picture. So this is basically the demo of the summary form 09. So what we are going to do now is I'm going to send you quickly the exercise with the credentials I gave you yesterday. You can access already. So please go to the system, and we are going to give you 30 minutes. Remember to go to T5W. So we give you 30 minutes to play around with this form, and then we'll be back in 30 minutes. Okay? You can also take this moment to have a small break, but please go to Summary 09, play around, and I'm going to send you right away an exercise by email so you can follow it if you want. Right? Okay, thank you so much, and see you in 30 minutes. I will put a timer in the screen as well for you to be aware. Thank you. I'm going to see now the Summary 03 form, and for that I'm going again to the system, and I'm going to open it using the Open Server Input Form folder. Now it's Summary 03. Okay. So coming back to our presentation, so you see what we are doing, that is all connected. If you remember this slide, we saw position form, and we said that position form is sending data to Summary 09, and it's sending also to Summary 03. Now, on Summary 03 is the form that, as we explained yesterday, the Summary 03 form is a comprehensive view of the budget proposal. So basically, it's a more summarized view of what we enter in position 01 and in Summary 09. And this is at entity level, okay? And we'll have all the staffing and operational expenditures all together, and will allow us to approve or reject the versions. So it's a very important form. And in my opinion, it has added value because you will see all the data together. So give me 1 minute that I open it in the system. Okay, I think you can see it now. So this is the form. This is the form, please. You see the first tab, which is called Planning Block Selection, Summary RB, Summary PK, Resources by Cost Object, Staffing Table. There are a lot of tabs, but do not worry, it's not so complicated. And all these tabs are showing different ways of doing a breakdown of the material. So the first of the budget that we are planning. The first thing is we select the fund. So we are going to select the coding block, and now I will explain about this let's say tab that has some buttons there. So the system should show me now the pop-up for the selection of the code. I think it's taking a bit of time. Okay, the pop-up came finally. It's only that it came to the wrong window. Okay. Yes, bear with me 1 second because the system is thinking. Okay, so we select UNA as a fund code. Okay, let me remove this thing so you can see the form. And let me zoom in so you can read. I have selected, oh, I thought I selected UNA. Let me select again because I don't see it. Don't worry about the red message. I will explain to you. This is just like a historic information about what happened to the versions. So in this form, it's just telling you that a previous version was locked and the other one was rejected. So I have to select UNA, then I will select the cost object. Again, I get the pop-up, I select UNA with the check, I click on OK, and there it is. The budget period, so the time was the budget period, and we said we are planning for 2020. Okay, Daniel, if you want to say anything at any moment, just go ahead. So the pop-up should appear for 2020, and then we will select the cost object. It's taking a bit of time. You see, when you see, you have to be familiar with this situation where the form says not responding. It's not that it's broken, it's that it's waiting for the server to bring data. So I'm going to select 2020. I don't know why the tab changed. We are in the first tab. Okay. Yeah, I hope no one else is using the credential that I'm using. Maybe just let me close something else here. Okay, that's fine, no? 2020, and now we go to the cost object. And then we'll see, this is important change compared to the other forms, so please pay attention. Depending on how you're mapping this is typically, yeah, this role, the role that have access to this form, remember that is for the approvers. And now see, this is different. Sorry, I'm with the wrong user. Okay, so I'm with OLA, but you see it's at entity level. But I want to show, I have to log off now. I have to show you with a different user because this one will not have all the data that I want to use for this presentation, for this demonstration. So I'm going now with a different user. But you have to know that the entities that appear here are not at cost center level, right? It's not a sub-entity, it's just the entity. So let me log on again. So you are going to be very familiar with the process of logging in. T5, W summary and plan, okay. The user is this one. Now I understand why the form was having a weird behavior, because I was using the same data. So now I'm logging in, and now the system will tell me something about the coding block. Sorry, it's a bit slow. Okay. All right. So now I want to select the cost object. And hopefully I should see an entity that is linked to my user. Otherwise I will have to close the form and open it again. Let's see the cost center. Very good. So you see here, please pay attention to this. The cost object now is only at entity level. This is a strong difference compared to what you were doing in summary 09 and what you were doing in position form. You were selecting your cost center, a cost center, and here you don't have it. This form, summary 03, is managed at entity or sub-entity level, but not to the level of the cost center. Okay? So you will have summarized information. Here we see EC.01, and the version is L1. Now, once you get to this form, if you're approver, the first thing you need to do is to click on refresh button after selecting the coding block. And you will get a message here on the planning block area that it may say unlocked or locked. So you see, if I have your attention, you see the green message on the screen, it says unlocked. This means that the version L1 has not been approved or rejected yet. So the situation in the system would be that we enter data in summary 09 and we enter also estimations in position form, and this goes to summary 03, as I said before, as you can see on this slide. And then from summary 03, we access to version L1. If it's unlocked, then we start the review to eventually approve it or reject it. Okay, let's see the review. So we enter the coding block. We go to overall summary ALB. If you are from regular budget, forget about the third tab. The tab overall summary PK, you don't have to use it. Overall summary RB, we click on refresh. Here, remember, you have refresh button on the screen, so you use it from the spreadsheet. If there is no, you go to the toolbar. So I'm refreshing, and what I expect to see here is a breakdown of all the costs and their variations. So let me zoom in. So what we see here is for all the budget classes. For all the budget classes, we see the actual in the previous year, what was approved in 2019, and what is our proposal in 2020 by budget class, together with a summary of the change, if it's an increase or a decrease. There was a question from one of our colleagues saying, what if we are decreasing the amount? What do we do in summary 09? In summary 09, we enter the proposal. We don't enter the variation. It's the system that will compare our proposal and will tell us, okay, you are reducing 17,000, you are increasing something. For example, in this line that you see consultants and experts, you see that it was approved in 2019 49,000. Well, now we are proposing 67,000. Okay? The system is telling us that there is a difference of 17,900. Okay, this is just a difference, and it's an increase. That's why you see it, an increase of 36%. While in a different line, we had something budgeted for contractual services in 2019, but in 2020 we don't have anything. This is a decrease of 17,000 to 100%. All right. So this is a summary, but what if you want to see it, and then you have a summary of the variant level and everything. What if you want to see it at commitment item level or a subclass level? So you see the difference, or the person that has to approve. So you know it already. You double click on the class and we should get a breakdown. Daniel, anything you want to add?
Not really. I was actually going through the chat and postponing to the chat an example. To Suda was actually her question, and if in the previous budget we budgeted for 500, and then we're going to budget for 490, we will have to input 490. The system will catch that difference and say it's 10,000 less, and then we'll have to justify that difference. Over to you.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So you saw I double click on the class, and I got a breakdown. So I see the subclass consultants and the subclass ad hoc expert groups. And then be careful, because in this report we get the breakdown over the class line. Okay, so but you see the breakdown. So what if? Okay, that's a good thing. We have the summary. We can have all the aggregated information, and we have the difference. So the person that has to review, approve, or reject has a good view of it. Okay, but we see the information at let's say sub-entity level, but we don't see it as cost center level, right? So how do we see it? How do we see the breakdown by cost center? So we can go to the third tab, which is resources by cost object, and we refresh. This form I think it's very useful, and it gives a good view. So I should see here. So okay, let me zoom in. We have again the classes. Okay, we have the subclasses, and then we can drill down up to the commitment item. We see the description of the class, the actual in 2018, the approved in the previous year, the internal proposal for 2020, and then the increase. So this is similar to the previous tab. What is different is now we have here the sub-entity. Now, I have been telling you, you don't see the cost center, so how do you display it? And this is something that people in the approver will not realize if you don't tell him, or if he is not listening to this. You have to double click on the entity to get the cost centers extended. The message says double click on the node to expand collapse, which means this is the node. So if we double click here, the form will expand the area. This is very important, because I'm not sure there is already the I learned material. So you have to transfer this message. If they want to see the amounts by cost center, they have to double click on the sub-entity. So you see, let me zoom out so you have an idea of what I'm saying. Before you had the entity, but now you have. So out of the amount that you were seeing here for post, there is nothing on cost center 13800, nothing in 13801, but everything falls under 13802, okay, and 13803. Sorry, because this panel is freezed, so I can show it big and wide at the same time. So here is the breakdown. Did you get the point? Did you get at least the information that is going to be displayed in the summary RB tab in the resources by cost object? Can you please click on the green check if this is clear? Overall summary RB has a breakdown by budget classes of the amount for the proposed, the internal proposal for the whole entity. okay, with the difference. Resources by cost object has a similar information, but you can get it broken down by cost object. What is all the cost object under this sub-entity or entity, depending on the structure, and then you get the up to the cost center. Is this clear? Can you please click on the green check or in the red one if it's not clear? Now, for the people that are saying no, please write your question. So you prepare, let's say that, okay, let me take the slide to explain it. You prepare, the position planner prepares the proposal for staffing, right? Then the non-position planner enters the amount on the summary 09, the way we explained before the break. All this goes together to summary 03, and the reviewer approver will see it in this tab. But we'll see in this tab the consolidated amount of all the cost centers. And then if they can see the variation, if there is an increase or a decrease, and they can go to the position 4 to see further details. If they want to see the breakdown by the cost centers, if there are, for example, in the picture that we see now, there were twice the form of position was populated. So under the coding block 13002, we populated the position form. Under the cost center 13803, 02 and 03, and now it's 03, they populated the position form. All this information has been summarized and is visible in summary 03 form, in the one that we are seeing. The way to display it is by double-clicking on the entity, so you see the system is showing you the consolidated information, so it collapses all the cost centers, fund centers, or if you double-click, you expand it. This is the point for the resources in our overall summary. Okay. Now, what else do we have in this form? We have a staffing table. Again, once we come here, we have to refresh. And remember, if you don't see the refresh button, you have to refresh from the toolbar. Now, this staffing table is a summary based on the position form that you populated before. Remember, we work on the position form, and this is sending the data to summary. This is a summary of the position form. So you can see here, for this coding block, what was in 2019 and what is the proposal in 2020. So there is one under Secretary General, 1D2, 2D1s, 5P5, 1P4, 3P3, 2P2, etc. How many international staff here, and then general service and local staff, and then also a view of the increase, if we are increasing or decreasing. So we had 1 and then we had 3, so it's an increase of 200%. Okay? This is basically the summary that you can see in staffing table. I think if you double click on the category, I think we are getting something. Oh no, maybe it's in the next tab. Okay. So yeah, it's in the next tab. So this is again summarized information for a particular subentity. If we want to see it by cost object, we can see it. We can only see the staff changes. So the staffing table is a summary. If we go to the next tab, staff changes by cost object, and we click on refresh, we will see the list of position actions. What?
We have questions related to the UN volunteers, whether they will appear over there or not.
Sorry, can you hear me? Yes. Okay. So what you have here basically is what you enter in the position form. So I don't know what is the budgeting processes for UMVs if you enter it. This is purely a business question. So just consider what you have to enter in the position form, and you will see it. If there is something that needs to be prepared in terms of budget that is not under position form, the only way to enter it is in summary 09, right? So yeah, I'm just I can't tell you how the system behaves, but I don't know how you budgeting for UMVs or not. So if you have a business question, then we can send it to the business owner in New York.
Yes, and actually UMV is not in position 01, so you will never see UMV positions in the staffing list because it's actually not part of the staffing list. So we'll have to actually check the class under we budget the UMVs in our mission, and from there we'll have to go and see in summary 09 or 2.
Okay, thank you. So we saw, just to recap, we saw overall summary, which is basically consolidated information, resource by cost object that gives you a breakdown by cost center, staffing table that is a summary of positions. If there is a P1 that should be there and is not visible, it's simply because it must be added to the position detail form, no? But this is basically, depending on what you see here, is just a summary of position 01. So that's it. If it doesn't appear in position 01, it will not appear here. And then here we should see also the list of possible actions, but I clicked on refresh and I didn't see it. So maybe I have to go to, okay, now it is, sorry. Maybe I didn't click, or I changed the tab and I lost it. So in this tab, we will see, okay, a list of actions. So for example, maybe, yeah, because I approve and then I reject it, the counting is going back. So we will see how many redeployments there were, reclassifications, reassignments, and so on. In this example, maybe this one is not a very good one because it's showing only the ones that are for review. Okay. Okay, maybe I could open a different one. So 1 second, please.
But basically, although we work with the other example, this will give you high-level information of the actions that you have been taking in terms of the business actions, redeployment, reclassification, reassignment, conversion, or for review, everything that you have been doing in position number 01, right? So it's a kind of like a consolidated approach only with the numbers of plus and minus.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. So the last tab it's about military and police. So for you as a regular budget, I think it's out of the scope. So what I'm going to explain finally is, once we have reviewed all this, what is the process to approve or reject? So the approver or review, it has to come back to the first tab and basically click on approve or reject. Okay. So what is important to notice is that after we will click on approve, version L1 will be locked, and then we will have a version L2 unlocked. Okay, now I don't remember if with the user access is the one that has access to approve. Let me just try. So you see we're getting error, but well, I could access simply with a different user. 1 second. Or maybe it doesn't really matter. Right? It's just a click, so you can see it in production. So once we have reviewed all the tabs, we will click on approve, and that's it. And we will go to version 2. Okay. So if there are no other questions, Daniel, I think we are good to close, and it's just in time because I'm losing completely my voice.
Yes, I don't see any other question. Yes, we tackled the part of the UMVs. Just a piece of information on this summary 003. As you can see, there is no like a transaction per se that you can do in this form. Please bear in mind that not everyone probably in this WebEx will have access with the proper role to approve summary 03. But in a nutshell, you just basically are going to see from a high-level point of view what previous colleagues did in position number 1, what previous colleagues entered in summary 09, and then as a consolidated information, high-level consolidated information, then the manager who is going to approve the budget for your call center, for example, will approve or reject based on the business. Then, as you go on with the different versions, it will be a regular approval process. So, in a nutshell, summary 03, it's kind of like a workflow stage, not actually a form per se that you have to fill in with data. Right? Over to you.
Yeah, so thank you, Daniel. So that's basically the point. I'm trying to access with a different user that I think has permissions to approve the L1. So you can see basically the change of the screen, but it's nothing special. Once you click on approve, you get a confirmation message. And well, actually, yeah, I will send you in the job aid, because there is actually some screens that appear, and the approval have to click on next a couple of times, so it's good if I show it to you. So just wait with me for a few seconds. Okay, yeah, this is for the L2. Just give me 1 second that I take the right user, because this is the approver at a different level. Just wait for a couple of minutes, please, that I get to the proper user.
Okay, so as we are going to go through to look at for the right user, for you to see how the system behaves once we approve the L1 version with an entity proposal, we'd like to remind you a couple of things. First, that this session has been recorded, so along with yesterday's session, everything will be uploaded into YouTube, our page. And from there, you can follow the session again with the exercises that will have been sent to you as well. So in case that you do experience or things are not going well in terms of the exercises, that there is something that you do not understand, we will be available for you through our generic email account that we will send to you, and from there we will try to help you out. Remember that we will be doing the exercise on position 01 and summary 009. Okay, those are the two main forms that we touched upon, and summary 03, it's the form more related to like the final approval from the version point of view, and there is no transactions involved. It's basically a kind of like a read-only form that you either approve or reject based on the figures that you see.
Okay, I think I found the proper user. Sorry, because I got a long list and with all the coding blocks. So now I'm accessing basically with BF11. So if you remember from the presentation, the list of roles. Okay, just to put it into context, I'm accessing now with BF11, which is the sub-entity reviewer approver. Okay, Previously I went with the BF09, so I couldn't use it, and then I went too far with BF12, that it was for L2 version. So now I have access with the proper one. It's 10 UNA. Okay, so I'm going to refresh to see the status of the planning block. Basically, the planning block is telling you only that the version is ready to be reviewed, right, as I said. So I'm not going again to this. It's the same information, okay? It's just that I wanted to click on approve to see what happens. And then this is telling you, if you approve your current proposal, would you like to continue? So you will have to click on yes. And then this is it's in the job aid that we are going to share with you, but it's important that you don't touch anything, because this is part of the macros of how the system has been designed. So you only have to click on next and click on finish. Okay? Nothing weird. The system is giving you a message saying that request to run the package, blah, blah, it's now running. So we click on OK. And we get another message, very weird, that we only have to click on close. This is just information about how it went. Okay. And that's it, basically. So once you click on approve, you get all these messages, and then probably now, if I don't get any other message, if I click on refresh, so now it's running, or probably it's running, it's still running. So that's it, basically. Now the version L1 should be locked once this is. Okay, yeah, but because what Daniel is telling me is that I click on close before the process was completed. So let me do it again if it's not ready. Anyway, this is a process in parallel. So once you do it, it's triggered, so it's run. Then we have to get the message. We click on OK. So now it's running. We click on refresh until it says successfully completed. This is only feedback from the system. Okay. And I click on close, and that's it. That is the approval process. Normally we are getting a message, and eventually the version L1 will be locked, and the version that will be available will be version L2. Okay, we don't see it right now, but you have to trust me, and we will do it in the system. So thank you so much for. You see, I got it now. So L1 is locked now, and the approval has recently been executed by CSR01. This is me today at this time. So now, after we click on approve, it's not possible to save data in position form. This is something that you need to understand. Sorry, I'm insisting once and again on the same thing, but I trust that you appreciate that. So once you approve version L1 on Summary 09, it's not possible to work on L1 version on Summary 09 and let me repeat. Once you approve L1 in Summary 03, it's not possible to save data in position and Summary 09 under L1. Okay, so if later we realize there have to be changes, they can always reject L2, and then you can work on L1 still. Okay, or you can apply the changes on L1 later. Okay, so thank you so much. If you have any other question about Summary, just say it now, or later you can also do it by email. And that's been a pleasure for us to deliver this session. We will send you the materials and another exercise for Summary 03 after a while. We will send you the links for the recordings as soon as possible, because we have to download the video, render them, and upload it to YouTube. And we will also send you a survey link for you to, let's say, provide feedback about these sessions, if they were useful as refreshers. Remember that this is a refresher session that we were providing to help you using, even though the official training was already delivered. So thank you so much. Any other question, Daniel, from your side?
No, we have no more questions. Remember that you can go and see all the chat and copy and paste it in Word in case that you want to go through the different questions and answers. Thank you for your attention, and thank you, David, because your voice was not in the best health these days, and you made a huge effort now. So thank you, David.
Thank you, no problem. I will be quiet for the next 2 months, I think. Thank you. Have a good day, and please don't hesitate to write to us if we can help you in any way. Okay. Have a good day. Bye bye.